Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday morning. We're back with another massive show to bring you guys today. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Let's try and see 200 likes on today's show. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new. It doesn't cost any money. Get involved. We're live every day, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. We do a show and also at 6 p.m. So yeah, get involved if you're new. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about Marcus Rashford, of course, and apparently an emergency meeting that is being held at Carrington right now between Marcus Rashford, his agent, and Erik Ten Hag and the management team at United. So, of course, we'll be talking about that. Also talking a bit about the game yesterday against Newport, some transfer-related stuff, lots and lots of things to talk about, as always, with Manchester United. But I would say the most immediate important thing is obviously the Marcus Rashford story. So I'm going to start the show off with that. And as always, guys, I invite you to have your say in the comment section. So let me know your thoughts. What would you do with Marcus Rashford? Let me know in the comment section. Would you get rid of him? Do you think he deserves another chance? Let me know what your thoughts are. I always read through all the comments. I always like to see what other Manchester United fans have to say. So get in the comment section and yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let's start on Marcus Rashford then. Let's start with that. So for anybody who doesn't know what's going on with Marcus Rashford, The Athletic reported a couple of days ago that he was out in a nightclub in Belfast on Thursday night until about 3 a.m. when he was meant to be at training in Manchester at, I think, 9 a.m. on that Friday. He was in a nightclub at 3 a.m., meant to be in Manchester 6 hours later, but he was in Belfast. I mean, and then he called in sick. Said that he was unwell and that he wasn't able to come into training. Obviously, then all these photos and videos surface of him in this nightclub in Belfast buying alcohol or what looked like alcohol. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I can't say for 100%, but he was in a nightclub until 3 a.m., seen buying drinks over the counter. Obviously, I mean, arguably it could have been a glass of Coke if you want to really nitpick the situation, but I mean, who goes to a nightclub till 3 a.m. on a Thursday night buying glasses of Coke? Like, probably not many people do they. So that's where this all started. That's the kind of the blueprint of, what happened in the first place. Erik Ten Hag was asked about it before the game against Newport yesterday, and he really, really didn't look very happy about it. You could just tell. He kept saying it was an internal matter, but you could see that he was fuming. You could just tell by the way he was reacting to the comments that he did not want to talk about it. He was really not happy about the situation, you can just tell. And then off the back of that, obviously, we kept hearing that it would be sorted internally, this, that, and the other. And the story this morning, this is coming out from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News, is that apparently Marcus Rashford his agent were seen driving into Carrington this morning for what are being described as emergency talks, crisis meetings, whatever you want to call it, That's where we are. That's the factual element of this. Okay, so that's the fact. Now we'll go into a matter of opinion. My opinion. I like Marcus Rashford. I think off the pitch he's an inspiration. I think he's done some incredible things for the local neighbourhood. He's done incredible things in the UK to help children, get school meals and stuff. I know. Let me just, say what I have to say before people are like, "Oh, he's a footballer. Who cares about the school meals?" I'm just trying to, give it a balanced reaction here and not just screaming at the camera. He's done a lot for the local community. He's just got an MBE, and his off the field activities to this point have been immaculate. He's conducted himself in the right way. As I said, he does charity work. He's, does things for the homeless. He's written books and, he's done lots and lots of stuff off the pitch. And from a brand's perspective, I don't think there's a better footballer in the Premier League from a brand perspective. Okay? Not from a footballing perspective. Now, I want you to really, really clearly hear me say the two different things. From a footballing perspective, I could think of 50 better wingers in the Premier League than him. I'd probably rather have Anthony Gordon than him, who plays for Newcastle, genuinely. But from a brand perspective, by what he offers Manchester United, with his Instagram following, with how highly respected he is, how I assume children in the UK love him and buy his shirts because they like him as a person and like him as a player. All of these things are undeniable, right? But what happened the other night? He's completely mudded that for me, We're not even... I'll talk about how he performs on the pitch in a minute, because obviously that's the most important thing. But I'm just trying to give an overall perspective here. For me personally, Marcus Rashford has completely lost any respect from me whatsoever. Now, people will come at me and say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite. You've never gone out the night before going to work." I mean, of course I have. Everyone, everybody has done that. But we are quote unquote normal people. We work normal jobs. I mean, I don't know how much people earn, what, salaries and stuff people earn in the chat, but most people who watch, and me, myself, we're normal people. Marcus Rashford earns £350,000 a week. He's a role model. He's playing for what we're told is his boyhood club. It's his dream. He grew up in the local area. He's earning more than most in the show will earn in 10 years in 1 week. That doesn't make it okay for him to act like a normal person. He's not a normal person. He's a footballer. He's a celebrity, and these aren't the days of like George Best or, when David Beckham was here, when people were going out getting drunk before, people having a pint before the game. Like the world has changed. It's not like that anymore. Like these people are looked up upon, Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, he's mid-30s? I don't think he drinks, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't, do any of these things that footballers aren't supposed to do. And that's why he is at the level he is, because he has an elite mentality. And I think that this just shows me that Marcus Rashford doesn't have an elite mentality. And it's really, really rubbed me up the wrong way, this story. It has. Like, I think it's such a privilege to play for Manchester United. I don't even play football, but if I was in his position to be out in a nightclub on a Thursday night in Belfast until 3 a.m, I mean, why? Now, obviously, people, you have to look at it and say he's human. There's stories that apparently him and his fiance, who, he's been with since he was a teenager, have broken up and all of these things. And obviously, on a human level, I get it. I'm sure there's things going on in his life. I mean, Jadon Sancho going as an example, his best friend at Manchester United being thrown out of the club ultimately. There's all these things surrounding Marcus Rashford that I'm not trying to make excuses for him whatsoever, but I'm trying to get I'm trying to imagine I'm Marcus Rashford and how he's feeling right now. Allegedly, he's, broken up with his fiance of 10 plus years or whatever. His best friend's left the club. The fans are kind of turning against him because he's playing absolutely terrible and his attitude stinks. And does that make it all right? No. But, if you want to go on the whole we're human thing, then obviously that's the argument that you could look at. But for me personally, I don't think there's any coming back from this. I don't think there's anything coming back from this. I don't. I think he has to go. He's lost my respect 100%. He's been off for 2 weeks anyway. We haven't had a game for 2 weeks. Just let that sink in, right? He's been off for 2 weeks. I think they were in Dubai doing all these amazing things, earning £350 a week, 2 weeks holiday, the day before coming back to training, before a massively important game against Newport, who we need to win a trophy this season, really, don't we? The FA Cup is our only hope. And I don't care whether people say it's only Newport. Like, we'll talk about that game in a minute. But his attitude to be, I've been off for 2 weeks, and the day before I'm supposed to be back in training after 2 weeks, I go out in Belfast and get... He obviously must have been drunk. If you're up till 3 a.m. and then you call in sick, I mean, do people think we're stupid? I mean, how many of you have done that, right? How many of you have gone out the night before work? I mean, I've done it before. We all have. I used to work in a nightclub, and I remember, and this is a good story. This is an example, right? So I used to work in a nightclub quite some years ago. Obviously, if anybody doesn't know, I work in the events and music industry. I still do that now. Not so much in nightclubs, but anyway. So I used to work at a club. I was the marketing assistant marketing manager. So I used to promote all the events and stuff. And I had my own event on at this nightclub, right? I think it was like the 5th birthday of the brand that I run. So it was a big one. And I got drunk, very drunk. It was at my own night and all the rest of it. And obviously I was getting drunk at my place of work, okay? And then the next morning I called in sick. And they said, they were like, come on, mate. We all saw you. You were in an absolute state. So you weren't sick. You were obviously just hungover, which I was. And they were obviously completely fine about it. But it's that example. Like, we've all done it before, haven't we? And you try and call in sick and they're like, oh, I saw your Instagram story, you were out in a bar, or, it's like, and this is on a minor level. I'm not a celebrity. You look at Marcus Rashford, he's a celebrity. Every time he walks to the shop, there's probably people taking pictures of him, putting it on social media. Like, what did he really think was going to happen? And for me personally now, there is absolutely no coming back for Marcus Rashford. I've lost all respect for him. He's been absolutely woeful this season, in my opinion. His attitude stinks on the pitch. And I'm done with him. I am, and it's sad because, he is from the club. He's from the local area. He does a lot for the community and all of these things that I can't turn my nose at because he does a lot more than most other footballers do. But the thing that I think now, looking back on it, is that I think a lot of this was probably cleverly formulated by maybe his family members, his management, his, as a brand, like, let's put him on this pedestal of this amazing person. I'm not trying to say he's a bad person, but I just think it maybe seems a little bit fake to me now, that it was maybe all kind of formulated. Let's see what people are saying in the chat quickly. Alan says Rashford is part of the toxic players at United. I agree, mate, 100%. I agree. I just think that as soon as the Jadon Sancho situation happened, like Marcus Rashford, as we all know, is best friends with Jadon Sancho. How do you expect Marcus Rashford to turn that situation round? Like, it was just never going to happen. I see what else people are saying in the chat. I mean, everyone seems to be in agreement. Let's do a poll. Because obviously this is the point of this channel. It's for people to have an opinions. Whilst I set up the poll, everybody who's watching, please smash a like on the video. Let's try and hit 200 likes on today's video. There's nearly 200 people watching. So if everybody who's watching likes the video now, we would hit the target. So there's going to be a simple question. Do you want Rashford at United anymore after this incident? It's a simple question, guys. If you're watching this back on repeat, obviously, get involved in the comments section, have your say. Do you want Marcus Rashford at Manchester United anymore? And I spoke to quite a few of my friends who support Manchester United yesterday, and we were all kind of in the same place. We were all saying, Marcus Rashford's been one of my favourite players over the last 5 to 10 years. I think he is a world-class player on his day, which is very, very rare, his day. But when he is in top form, he is world-class. He's an exciting player, he gets you off your seat and all of these things, but I genuinely am done with him. I'm done with him. I'm sorry. Like, some people will come with stats saying, oh, well, he's got 8 goals and assists in the league this season. And if you look at, we've only scored 15 goals. So actually he's done quite well. Like, that's not the point. He throws his hands up in the air constantly. I know Bruno Fernandes does that, so I'm not going to be hypocritical, but I just think his attitude absolutely stinks. I don't think he seems like he cares. And I think that when you look at, the situation that we're in now, I just don't want him at the club anymore. I don't. I think it's an absolute disgrace. I'm sorry. To be paid that much money, to be such a public role model for kids. He's literally, just let this sink in for a second. And I know, us normal people will say, oh, we've all been out for a drink on a night and it's got, and next thing you know, it's 4 a.m. and you're back at somebody's house and you're still drinking and you've got to be in work at 8. Like, it happens. But we are normal people, we work normal jobs. We earn probably in a year what he earns in a day. Literally. Like, honestly, if you think about it, 350 grand a week, what's that a day? I mean, it's absolutely, it's eye-watering. It's crazy amounts of money. So a day at Manchester United, he earns 50 grand a day. 50 grand. Take in mind that he's just been off on holiday for the last 2 weeks because we didn't have any games. So, so he's earned 700 grand for effectively going on holiday, which is fine. Obviously, every footballer deserves a holiday, so I'm not criticising that. And he decides to end his holiday by spending 2 days in a nightclub in Belfast. 50 grand a day. That's how much he's paid. So I've seen people on Twitter saying, oh, we've all done that, where you go out for a drink and one thing leads to another and it's 4 a.m. Yeah, of course, but we're not, role models being paid £350,000 a week by our boyhood club who we supposedly love and all the rest of it. So you can't compare it, can you? He's a role model for children. He's a role model for the next generation. And they're looking at this situation thinking, that's okay. To be out in a club in a city you don't even live in on a Wednesday and Thursday of a working week when you're a person of influence, a person of power. Like, I just don't think it's okay. And I've lost so much respect for him. Yeah. Richie says, Kieran, Rashford is not world class, not even close, always overhyped. Richie, I would agree with you 99.9% of the time, right? But all I said was that on his day, he is, but his day is like twice a season. Do you see what I'm saying? So you are right. He's not world class, because world class means you're world class consistently. Kylian Mbappe gets a goal or an assist every single game. Marcus Rashford, one game in 15, will play really well and get a couple of goals and an assist. And people will say he's world class. But the other 14 games, he'll be absolutely terrible. So I agree with you. He's not world class. I just mean that if he applied himself, I think he does have the potential. Chris says it's even worse when your club is on its knees. I mean, yeah, it's not. Look, guys, right? It's not like it's Man City. Okay, Man City in the summer. They just won the treble, and you see all these videos of Jack Grealish, and he hasn't slept for 3 days. He's out in Ibiza drinking, and it's like it's all made a bit of a joke of. I actually thought that was sad when that all happened, but you could kind of justify it a bit because they've just won the treble. They're probably all stressed, and they're going off and enjoying themselves. And if that's the way he wants to enjoy himself, Jack Grealish, to be up for 3 days in a row drinking, then you can't really argue with it. I personally thought that whole situation was sad, though, just to look at. I thought it was, somebody should put their arm around him and be like, "Are you all right, mate?" But obviously, that's maybe me being a bit, I don't know. But for us to be off the back of 4 losses out of 5, sat 10th in the Premier League, out of the Champions League, out of the League Cup. The manager on the verge of getting sacked, and all of these terrible things happening, and his focus is on being in another city in a nightclub. It's just not good, and it's not what I want at Manchester United. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm done with him now. I'm 100% done with him, and there's no coming back. There's absolutely no coming back for him now. I'm sorry, and I know people will say, "Oh, he saved us last season." He saved us last season because he was shooting from outside the box every single time he got the ball. That was why his stats were so good last season. He's not a team player anyway. He doesn't work hard. He doesn't track back. He doesn't seem like he cares. He thinks he's better than he is. And now he's not even coming to training because he's out getting drunk. And that's the final nail in the coffin for me. As soon as somebody rubs me up the wrong way like this, it's very, very difficult to win my trust back and to win my support back and to win my respect back, because I just think of, and I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. So let's have a look. So 77% of people watching right now think Marcus Rashford should go after this as a result of this incident. Now, let's talk about what we actually think will happen, because it's all good and well me sat here saying, he should go, I'm done with him. But will Manchester United actually do anything? I'll say this, okay? If they don't throw the book at him, like they did with Jadon Sancho, like they did with Cristiano Ronaldo, like they did with other players, then I think that we're going backwards. I think you have to discipline him. And it has to be like what happened with Jadon Sancho, This can't be the environment that we allow to happen at Manchester United. Because otherwise it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Honestly, guys, it made me really sad yesterday. It did. It really rubbed me up the wrong way. Fred says he's lost the respect for the club, so it's time to go. 100%, mate. He's taken advantage of his position. He's taken advantage of us fans who enable him to be able to earn this type of money. The only reason he earns 350 grand a week is because people like you buy the shirts, you go to games, you buy the products of the people who sponsor Manchester United, you buy the training kits, I don't know, whatever it is that you do. You buy MUTV, you buy Sky Sports to watch Manchester United. He's only in the position where he is financially because of the fans who support the club that he supposedly loves, right? That's the black and white of it. Yes, he has some talent, but he could go to another club like an Aston Villa and they would probably give him 100 grand a week. Man United are able to pay these stupid types of wages because of our unbelievable fan base all around the world, like some of you watching today. That's why these players get this type of money. And for him to just throw that back in our face, to throw that support back in our face in our time of need, in our time of desperation, it's unforgivable. I'm sorry, it's absolutely unforgivable. And it's I was going to do a video about it yesterday, but I had such a nice weekend and I was feeling so positive away from football. And there was all this stuff going on behind the scenes, with all this Rashford stuff, all the rest of it. I was just I need some, escape from this because it's just doing my head in. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Richie says, hopefully Brailsford will be at this meeting and his agent brother, Dane, is on bail for domestic violence in the USA. I don't know anything about that, to be honest, mate. But, I don't know. Let's see what else people are saying. Fred says, yeah, look what happened to Best. Yeah, I mean, obviously times have changed from, when the George Best era where, the players would after a game go out for some pints or, Some players even supposedly drank before games, which completely bewilders me now. But that was the reality back then. It's not like that anymore. It's not. Like, these players are supposed to be elite athletes. They're supposed to give their life for football. Think about it like this, right? Let's just completely squash this argument. People saying, oh, he's only in his 20s. Like, remember what you were doing when you were 26 or whatever. That's what some people will say. Oh, he's a lad. He's going out for a drink before work. The life of a footballer, the lifespan, as in their playing career, is so short. You know, best case scenario, you look at the people like Ronaldo, the people like Thiago Silva, like they're 1 in a million. Most footballers are retired probably in their mid-30s now, innit? Some of them don't even make it that far. You see people like Jesse Lingard as an example. I mean, how old is Jesse Lingard now? He's without a club. He's only 31, Jesse. He's got no club. He was, went to West Ham, did well, was at Manchester United. He's now 31 and has no football club. The point I'm trying to make here is, right, Marcus Rashford might only have another 5 years at the top of the game. He can then do whatever the hell he wants after that. If he wants to go and get pissed in a pub in Belfast on a Thursday night, once he's finished football, then go and do that. You'll be rich. You'll never have to work a proper day's work in your life. Go and do whatever you want. But at the moment, you've got a manager who's on the brink of being sacked. You've got fans like me and you who are just absolutely miserable with the state of the club. And this is what you think is the correct course of action. You've got all of your life once you finish football to go and get drunk if that's what you want to do. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you on that. But whilst you're paid by the support and love of this fan base and this community and obviously all of the other Man United fans around the world, you should act like a proper footballer, not like somebody who's just, I don't even know. What have we got? Ginge says he's had 9 seasons and 8 years at Man United. He's not elite. We've created a monster in Rashford. The club has gassed him up to be something he never was. I agree with you there, mate. Zaid says, and then on top of that, when he scored, he's celebrated by gesturing that the people should stop talking about him. Yeah, it makes me sick. It absolutely makes me sick. It does. It makes me so angry. You're so right there, mate. For him to not score, I think, at Old Trafford for over a year, and he scores a goal, and he's there like telling the United fans to be quiet. I mean, that for me, he would have never played again if I was the manager or if I was the owner of the club. I would have got rid of him. Lumen says Rashford is Manchester United, according to you, Kieran, for various monetary and image reasons. Mate, that is it. I'll say this once more time, okay? Marcus Rashford as a brand is one of the most valuable assets in the Premier League. Without a shadow of a doubt. More valuable than Kevin De Bruyne. More valuable than Mohamed Salah. More valuable than, I don't know. As a brand, he is elite. He is an elite brand. He's got a massive social media following. He's got all of this charity work he does. He's got all of this morale points. He's got an MBE, which is given by the Queen, isn't it? Off the field, he is an elite asset to have for Manchester United. And he knows that. His team know that. And that's why he's in this position where he is. Like somebody said in the chat, we've enabled him to have this position of power. Paul says once he loses his pace, he is finished. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Jerry says, why do we keep putting up with these big-headed players like Rashford? The thing is, right, you just have to hope that Omar Barada, Paul Mitchell, Dan Ashworth, all of these people coming in change things. That's all we've got to hope for, because I don't want people here anymore that are only here because they're a brand and they're an asset. I don't want that. I want good footballers. That's what I want. I want to watch Manchester United and be entertained. I don't care whether Marcus Rashford has written a new book or Marcus Rashford has done this or done that off the field, And I think now he's completely mudded that off-the-field antics. This is the point I'm trying to make. To this point, Marcus Rashford as a brand off the field is irreplaceable at Manchester United. Honestly, he's so valuable. But now, he's muddied that, I think. And I think that he's messed up big time, really. Darren says there are going to be other players out there that would come in with something to prove if they could work towards a 300-week contract. Let the scouting department find them. Yeah, I would 100% look to sell Marcus Rashford in the summer, because even before this situation, we're in a terrible situation financially, right? Obviously, if we were to sell him because he's from the youth academy, it would be 100% profit. 100% profit. That really, really helps the financial fair play situation. And I think then, we move forward positively. But yeah, let's move on from that then. I've spoken 25 minutes about Marcus Rashford. Obviously, as I said, I didn't do any shows over the weekend, so I've kind of let it muster all weekend and, been really thinking about it all. Let's talk a little bit about the game yesterday. I'll be honest with you guys. I think what I saw yesterday was an absolute disgrace. I'll be honest. I don't want to be completely negative. Yes, we won the game. Yes, we're through to the next round. But for us, and this is why the title says Erik Ten Hag's big problem. For our wingers to be incapable of crossing a ball and giving Rasmus Højlund or whoever it might be the opportunity to score when they're in a better position, that is a huge problem for Erik Ten Hag. I looked at the stats again this morning, right? Let me just tell you this. I looked at the stats for last night's game. We won 4-2 and we missed 5 big chances. Those big chances was when like Garnacho shot when he should have crossed it, when somebody else shot when they should have squared it to Rasmus. Like we could have won that game genuinely in double figures. We had the opportunities, but our wingers are too greedy to do the betterment for the rest of the team. And I think it's a big problem for Erik Ten Hag, because if he's telling them to do that, then I don't know what the hell he's doing. But I don't think he is telling them to do that. I just think that these players are doing it off their own natural initiative. They're thinking, I want to shoot, I want the score, I want the glory. And to be doing that against a team who are bottom of League Two, I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's not like you're playing in the Champions League final and you want to be known as the player who won Manchester United the Champions League. You're playing against a team who are at the bottom of League Two. Like, their stadium, obviously they had a temporary structure up, but their stadium was like, there was like people on scaffolding in their gardens and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? And we were playing our best possible 11. Yeah, I just thought it was embarrassing, the whole thing. I really, really do. Alan says Anthony was not crossing the ball. He shot every time. Yeah, so did Garnacho, though, to be honest with you, mate. He did. Like, I love Garnacho, but both of them were being so greedy. Yeah, Chris says Garnacho was doing his best Rashford impression. Yeah. But I think it's a massive problem for Erik Ten Hag, because we are creating chances. We are playing attacking football. But our players just seem incapable of passing the ball to each other. Whether that's Rashford, whether that's Garnacho, whether that's Anthony, like, they're all the same. They all do the same thing. I think Garnacho's the best of all of them, because he actually takes on a man. He actually, does create things. But generally, I just think we have a big problem because they don't pass each other the ball. And we know that Erik Ten Hag's style of play is passing the ball to each other. It's that kind of, like Man City do, where they practically pass the ball into the back of the net. That's what Erik Ten Hag wants to do. But every time we get the ball in an attacking position, someone just shoots. And that's why, like I said earlier on in the show, Marcus Rashford had incredible stats last season, but that was just because every time he got the ball, he shot. Every single time he would have it in any point of the pitch, he would shoot when he probably should be passing it. And you look at the stats of Bruno Fernandes, right? Bruno Fernandes has the highest chance creation in the Premier League out of any player. But that will be, Bruno Fernandes will get the ball. He'll pass it to, say, Garnacho or to Rashford, and they'll shoot from 50 yards outside the box. And that will then go down as a chance, even though it doesn't even go on target, because a chance is, statistically, is a chance on goal. So Bruno Fernandes passing it to Rashford and him shooting from 50 yards goes down as a chance. It's stupid. The stats are a bit stupid sometimes when you look at it. Fred says, would you bring Onana back, Kieran? I mean, to be honest with you guys, Onana is... How embarrassing is that, right? To go all the way out to, I think it was in Senegal, all the way after the Africa Cup of Nations, and to be being benched by a goalkeeper who plays in the third tier of French football. That is embarrassing. I'm sorry. I would give Altay another game. I would give him another go at Wolves. I don't think he was amazing yesterday. I think he was okay. I don't think he was any worse than Onana. I think he looks more like a goalkeeper. He's tall. He's quite slim. Whereas Onana looks like a bodybuilder. Like, Onana doesn't look like a goalkeeper to me. He's so big. Whereas Altay Bayinda looks a little bit more like David De Gea. He's a bit more slim. He's a bit, more lanky. I don't know. I would give Altay another game, though, yeah, in short. And then we can kind of see. Let's have a look what else we've got. The United Way says that football yesterday was not great by our wingers. Rasmus must be so frustrated. Why isn't Erik Ten Hag managing this? You know what, mate? I actually do think at half-time Erik Ten Hag grilled them, because the first thing that happened in the second half, right? In the first 5 minutes, Garnacho crossed the ball and Antony crossed the ball a couple of times. But then literally about 5 minutes later, they seem to have just gone back to their normal greedy shooting. So I think Erik Ten Hag did grill them and said, you need to cross the ball. And they did for about 5 minutes in the second half. And then something switched back in their head and they went back to normal. Darren says, to be honest, there aren't many top footballers I like at the moment. They all seem just concerned with lining their pockets and being seen out in designer clothing. Yeah, of course. Like I said, mate, it's all about the brand. It's the off-the-field business. It's the, what can they do to put them on a higher pedestal, to make them more than just a footballer? And Marcus Rashford is a key example of that. He is more than a footballer. People who don't even like football know who he is because of the stuff he does off the pitch. Jin says, my issue with players shooting is that Erik Ten Hag must be telling them to do this, because why are they doing it every single game? He must be telling them to do this. I don't think he is, mate. I honestly don't think he is, because at half-time, as soon as they came back out in the second half, right? For the first 5 minutes, both Antony and Garnacho were crossing it. And then after 5 minutes, they just went back to normal again. And I think it's something that, especially in Garnacho, he's still very, very young. It needs to be drilled into him. And I think he will get there in the end. I think he will start to understand. But people like Marcus Rashford, he's in his prime now. He's not going to suddenly start crossing the ball or passing. He's going to shoot. Chris says, Ten Hag has told us time after time that these players don't listen to instructions. They consistently make the wrong decisions. There you go. Yeah, he has said that before, and I think it's key to see on the pitch, because anybody who knows what Erik Ten Hag's style of football is like, that's not what he would ever play football like. It was like where they would pass the ball into the back of the net, like Man City do. It wasn't his wingers getting the ball and shooting. Malp says, Kobe Mainoo is the only player that puts a smile on my face. I agree, Kobe Mainoo puts a smile on my face, but I also really like Martinez. I think Martinez puts a massive smile on my face. I think when Rasmus Højlund scores, that puts a smile on my face, just because I can see how much it means to him. But then at the same time, it kills me inside watching this guy, Rasmus Højlund, who is a boyhood Man United fan. He's got his dream move, and he plays against a League Two side who are doing poorly in League Two, and he doesn't even get a single shot on target other than his goal, which was he pretty much created himself. I feel so bad for him. Florian says, do you think Erik Ten Hag is a limited coach? I don't think he's a limited coach, mate. I think he's just playing with players with limited attributes and capabilities. I think if he had, players that were mouldable, then I think he would be able to achieve what he wants to achieve. But I just don't think that these players are mouldable, personally. The only one that I don't understand is Antony, because he brought Antony in, and for whatever reason, Antony doesn't seem capable of doing what he asks. But I think that is a confidence thing with Antony, That goal yesterday was his first goal of the season. And you can see that he's just desperate to score, because he feels like probably once he gets his goal, his confidence will come back, which I understand, that they're all human at the end of the day. But for the betterment of the team, Antony shooting on his left foot every time he gets the ball and missing isn't really, pushing us further forward. William says, if Ten Hag knows what he's doing, what is he doing with McTominay? McTominay didn't play yesterday, mate, so I don't know what you mean. He didn't have a choice. McTominay was the only fit midfielder. Eriksen's been injured. Casemiro's been injured. Mason Mount's been injured for a long time. Donny van der Beek's obviously not part of, is gone. McTominay played because there was no one else for so long. Whereas Casemiro's back now, so we should see Casemiro and Mainoo. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Hope everyone has a nice day. I will be back this evening, hopefully with something more positive to talk about. Yeah, have a good day, everybody. Please do like the video